Dear friends, I want to wish you a Shabbat Shalom. And this Shabbat is called Shabbat Shirah, the Shabbat of song, because in this week's Torah portion, Beshalach, we read about the song Az Yashir that the Jews composed prophetically to thank Hashem for the great miracle of saving them from the claws of the Egyptians, crossing the sea, and the same sea that saved the Jews will be the place that the final Egyptians that tried to hurt the Jews were gone, and gone forever. The Parsha is called Beshalach, as we said, and it has the events that occurred on the way to the sea and immediately after they crossed the sea. And one of the things it tells us is how the nation called Amalek holds a special place in the history of the Jewish people, as they represent the hatred of Jews and God to the highest level, where Amalek traveled across the entire desert to try to inflict damage to the Jewish people. We were of no danger to them. We weren't even in their neighborhood to bother them, but yet they came across to hurt us. And the Torah tells us that they fought us in Refidim. What is it important to know where they fought us? These are not places that really had civilization and people that lived there. These are places that the Torah gave names to. And usually it's because of events that happened there. So what happened in Refidim? And our sages tell us, Sharafu Yideyim B'Torah. There was a vulnerability and a possibility of the Jews being hurt because they became weak in the Torah. Now, we didn't even receive the Torah fully, but we already had received several commandments from God, and we became lax in our respect, our dedication, and our caring about the Torah. And that was the little vulnerability through which Amalek tried to ply open a great divide between the Jewish people and God and hurt us fully. You know, this week we also celebrate Shabbat, Yud Shvat, the 10th of Shvat, the day that the Rebbe ascended to the leadership of Chabad and world Jewry. In 1950, when his father-in-law, the previous Rebbe of Yosef Yitzchak, passed away, and a year later he took the mantle officially on that same day. And the Rebbe's leadership transformed the world. The Rebbe was the most energizing Jewish leader of any memory that we have. The Rebbe touched so many Jews individually, directly and indirectly. The Rebbe turned a generation that just experienced the Holocaust and all of its fallout to rebuild Jewish life into ways that we have never seen in the exile history of the Jewish people. One of the things we find, if you listen to the Rebbe's talks throughout, is though the Rebbe was always fighting a bigger picture, there was always attention to details, the little things, the mitzvahs that not necessarily so exciting, the details of every mitzvah. When the Rebbe studied Torah, he had a masterful way of including every detail of a verse and chapter that he would talk about to make sure they all fit in exactly into the bigger picture. That attention to details, small things that often seem unimportant. What does it mean when we say the Jews became lax in Torah? What it means is, I believe, that the Jewish people started to see some big pictures and started to feel that as long as they have the big picture, they have the feeling of God in their midst, it's not important, the details, the small things. You know, when you're witnessing miracles on the scale they witness, what is it important to have little things that are minuscule compared to what you're experiencing, compared to the miracles God is showing? And that's called Rafi Yadayim. You let loose. You don't hold on to it tight. Things that are very precious and meaningful to you, you're aware of every detail, and every part of it is so important to you. In a relationship, an object you own, details play a very important role. In Judaism, it's not only mitzvot, the minhagim, customs, traditions passed down, which are to us just as sacred, because this is what allows us to hold tight onto the Torah and not weak and vulnerable. Our calling in our generation that the Rebbe wanted was that we have to realize for our success as Jewish people and to pass on to the next generation, it's impossible if you don't pay attention to the details of what Judaism wants. When you sit down to a Shabbat meal, know all the parts, from Kiddush to how we cut the bread, to a grace after meal, blessings that we say, other things that should be on the table, and so on and so forth. Don't allow to be weak. When we hold on with a weak hand, we lose our grip very quickly. But when we hold on strong, because every detail is important, and everything connected to our Judaism is something that we have tremendous dedication to, it's a very different Judaism. So I want to wish you strength in holding on. Make sure at least in one area, in one mitzvah, you hold on so strong, and every detail about it is so important. Find out all you can about what and why it is.